So, it's a new video. Welcome back. I have no idea what this video is gonna be. Giving crazy 70s hair. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's a reading vlog. So let's see. I'm reading, I'll go get it for you actually. Hi, Jacob. Hello. Sweetheart. Sweet, sweet, sweet. He's shedding so much. I guess it's the summer that causes that. But he's a sweet one. You see? Oh. Allergens are on high in this household. Okay, let me go get the book. Reading Welcome to America by Boström Knausgård. This is translated from Swedish. And I got this book months ago. Was sent to me by Renee in New Zealand. So I read this book. I included that in a haul video at some point. Got a bunch of books and sweet, sweet friends send me good, tasty books. Oh my goodness, I just got a text message from a friend that I forgot I need to cancel dinner on. That's the current read. It's a really thin one, which was amazing. Yesterday I was reading also, oh, should I get up and get it also? The pick for Katie James's book club. I've completely deformed this book. Death by Landscape by Elvia Wilk. These are, to prop my hand on something. These are essays. So I'm working my way, as you can see, just at the beginning. It's super interesting, but kind of makes me think a lot. It's like very, like not something I can just kind of like read, just half paying attention or just kind of like turn pages and just continue. Hello. Hello, sweet. Hello. Oh, you are the sweetest pup. My child. I just can't really like, you know, speed my way through that is what I'm trying to say. It just takes me time because I like with essays, especially that have really like interesting, I don't know, research or just like food for thought. I like to underline and annotate and even take notes, things that it makes me think about. So I'm working my way slowly through that. And I was kind of last night before bed craving like a little fiction. So I picked up the Knausgård and yeah, it's really interesting. It's super skinny. It's like 124 pages. So I'm more than halfway. We're following an 11-year-old child narrator which I normally don't gravitate towards, and I don't like normally child books from a kid's perspective, but actually this one I really am enjoying. And she's decided to become mute and not speak anymore. Her father has recently passed away, and she had been praying to God and wishing that he would die, and then he does die, and she thinks that she's responsible for it, so she takes it as an kind of reason to stop speaking and to become very, very aware of her thoughts, because maybe she's responsible. Maybe everything she thinks and wishes will come true. So yeah, definitely a grief book. It's also interesting, the mother in this book is an actress, so talks a lot about the theater and like what she does and going to rehearsals with their mother. And yeah, I think because it's a small piece, it will be nice to talk to you more about it as a whole when I finish it. Jacob! It's hot out there. That's my reading update for now. And we're driving to Ohad's family today, so when she's finished with work, I'll go pick her up in the car and we'll drive there and then drive back in the evening, so it'll be a short trip. Yeah, I think that's it for now. I'll catch up with you later I'm feeling better today. Yesterday, the past 2 days, I've been kind of in a depression slump, like where the only thing that I felt like I could do to help myself was just to sleep. And I slept a lot. I fell asleep quite early yesterday, and Ohad took the dog walking duty in the morning, so I do feel like I've been a little bit resurrected and feeling better today. Bye. Oh, whoa. Okay, I finished it. Welcome to America. About like half an hour after I filmed that last clip that you just saw. It's very, like, there's not a lot of text physically on the page. So even for a short book, it reads almost like you can definitely read this book in one sitting. It goes very quickly, and there is something very, just really, compelling is not the right word, because it's not like I'm compelled by a story, but there is something about the way that this book functions inside. The main character's name is Ellen, the 11-year-old girl. You're really just in her thoughts and in her experience of being in her family with her mother and her brother, and just life kind of continuing to go on as normal or not as normal. And we're really with her and her perception of that, and her perception of herself in relation to that, and her choice of silence and why, and her fears. Like, we're really just a lot with her. So that is very, that sucks you in and just really keeps you, like, you want to be with her. I don't know, I'm trying to think of what to say other than this just broke me to pieces and I had to cry for 10 minutes. I have recovered since I've come to talk to you. But really towards the end, I started to just get weepy while reading it. And then when I finished it, I had a breakdown for like 10 minutes. So I'm just personally realizing, like, lately I just have really wow, can I do this? Lately just been like really not doing well, which I only am realizing maybe as I'm actually feeling a little bit better, or I don't know, I'm half still in it, and it's also just the new reality that I live with some pain that will just take a really long time to find different places for it to sit inside my body. And yeah, so I just have had like hard few days, like I said in the first clip, and this was just so strong, so beautiful, really bleak, like it's pretty heavy. You just want to hug and protect this young girl. Her father was struggling heavily with mental health, and that created some situations of fear and just of danger for her and her family. So on the one hand, you know, she wishes that he dies, and he does, so she's dealing with this kind of like power of thought, and also, but at the same time, you know, she's really grieving. This book is just a really intense and isolated portrait of a family in grief, and how the different ways in which they're grieving, and like how can they possibly get on the same line with each other, or like, is it possible to still communicate and function as a family when they're all going through something and it's manifesting in such different ways for them. It just made me think also about, you know, my mother and I, who are very close, but it's hard even when you share a grief you can't really share grief. Like it's personally belongs to you, the way that you deal with it, the way that you are affected by it, and what you need. And that's even hard with, you know, your loved ones. This was just a really, wow, so good, so good. 5 stars, author. Beautiful portrait of her in the back. And she's the wife of Carl of Knausgård, who probably most of you are familiar with. Something that really struck me and made me feel like, of course I'm not an 11-year-old dealing with grief, and also my circumstances regarding my father are so not the circumstances that our character has with her father. But something about this choice of silence when dealing with deep grief was very, very relatable to me. Like, sometimes it's just too much. And the only thing that you can really think to do is to be silent. And there's just one sentence on page 97. She says, "What was I doing here among all these dogs and cheerful people?" That feeling of like walking in a park or being in a cafe and like it's so pleasant and everyone seems to enjoy, and you're sort of like, what am I doing here? I circled one page that I wanted to maybe read in its full, I'd be woken by an arm flopping from my side or a sudden nod of my head. Who was I in sleep? It was as if a different time took over with more room in it for life, a time that posed no questions to my existence. There, in dreams, I simply lived as if it were the simplest thing in the world. Nothing to ponder or worry about. I imagined that was what it was like for most people, perhaps even my mom and my brother too. Maybe it was my worrying that was stopping me from growing, stopping the force that was meant to proceed on its own. Just the feeling of lostness, and yeah, she's just struggling, this Ellen, and she's not getting any assistance. Like, actually, there's one situation towards the end when they're being called to school by the principal of the school, saying like Ellen is not speaking and she's also not writing, and we don't know if we can, move her up in school. And the one thing that I feel like the mother does that was like an act of protection after like not really being that kind of mother in this situation. I mean, of course, she's dealing with her own feelings in her own ways, but you just keep hoping that this 11-year-old girl gets some support, like in one of the hardest times of her life, and also a very complicated like age to be. And she said, and the principal is asking Ellen, like, what do you think about this? Like, do you want to move up like a grade with the rest of your class? Like, even if you don't speak, just like nod your head. And the mother is like, do you think that she's gonna answer you? Like, let's cut this meeting now, because she's not gonna talk to you. She's not gonna answer you. She's not gonna give you what you want. We're leaving. And in a way, it was sort of like defending her daughter, even though she also struggles with this element that she doesn't speak. But it was a kind of way of saying, for being on her side, kind of. So it was really beautiful. It was really touching. It was just this really raw portrait of a family that really wishes for togetherness but can't reach it and is so torn apart from each other. It was really, really beautiful. For a short book, it packs so much inside. This is the power of a tiny book. You don't have to read 400 pages of a book for it to be very, very impactful. This would be an amazing example of how to write 124 pages of minimal text and have it be a masterpiece. So that was that. So good. I'm moving forward with Death by Landscape, the essay collection by Elvia Wilk, but I would like another novel and another tiny maybe to keep me kind of going now that I'm have the bug for reading. So I wanna like move forward. So I was drawn to this one, Vertigo by Joanna Walsh. When it's blurbed on the front by Deborah Levy, I'm very excited. I'll read you the back. This is a woman as a mother, daughter, wife, spectator, lover, mistress, observer and commentator, actor and reactor, dressed up bright as a child or submerged in the gray elegance of Paris. She shifts readily between roles, countries, and languages. Skilled and successful, she controls how much she cares. Yet, as every new woman emerges and every new story is told, each with a sharper, more deadpan, more aching simplicity, the calm surfaces of Joanna Walsh's Vertigo shatter, pulling us deep into the panic that underlies everyday life. Also, Jeff Vandermeer, another author I really love. If you don't know where to go, but you're interested in some kind of sci-fi vibe, I would point you towards Jeff Vandermeer. He writes stunning, short, sharp shocks with insight that reminds me of the very personal work of Clarice Lispector. So that has me very, very intrigued. I don't understand if this is a woman as a mother, daughter, wife. So if we're following one character or if it's more ambiguous in that sense, or if it's like different women. This is also a tiny, it comes in at 123 pages, so 1 page less than the Knausgård. That's all I have for now. Keep you updated. Bye.